God is a trinity. And so in that unity of diversities, there is one God in three persons. There is a unity of diversity in the sublimity of the Trinity. And in the bonds of marriage, we are offered the opportunity to reflect that. Jesus repeats it in Matthew, that every human being is made in God's image, which means that I didn't give her her value. No one gave her her value except the one who created the entire universe, which means she has an objective reality to her sacredness. She is a sacred being. And so why does the Bible have these boundaries on the expression of sexuality? Why does it have those? Is it the arbitrary leanings of dusty old people writing a dusty old book in a dusty old time who use God to baptize their bigotry? Is that it? Or is it possible that this young lady and all of us, every single one of us, whatever our sexual orientations might be, or our proclivities, our behaviors might be, whatever our longings and our yearnings actually are, every one of us is made in God's image and therefore inherently sacred, not incidentally sacred. You are not sacred because I say so or anybody else says so. You are objectively sacred, every single one of you, because the creator of all of the earth says so, and he gets to call the shots. And he says you're sacred, which means I can't take that away from you and no one else can either. But you are the product of something. You are a sacred being, and you are the product of a process. The only process we're aware of where human beings are created is whether, I know there's certain scientific ways in which you can mess with the system and mess with the product, the process when there are issues, but sexuality between a man and a woman is the only way human beings are actually created. Human beings who are made in God's image and therefore sacred. If the product is sacred, every human being is sacred, then the process by which they come about is also sacred. Despite efforts to desacralize it or whatever it might be, the process is intended to be sacred. And sacredness requires some kind of a boundary around it. So the Bible draws that boundary around a man and a woman in the bond of marriage as the sole expression under biblical precepts whereby people can actually do this so that sacred human beings can be created. Does that limit sex to procreation? No. But it's the kind of activity that is beautiful in and of itself because it creates a beautiful product, a sacred product. But the diversity that comes from a man and a woman is a reflection of the Christian conception of God as a unity of diversities. God is a trinity. And so in that unity of diversities, there is one God in three persons. There is a unity of diversity in the sublimity of the Trinity. And in the bonds of marriage, we are offered the opportunity to reflect that. That's what we're offered the opportunity to do. And so the Bible isn't so much prohibiting certain conduct as it's protecting something sacred and saying anything that takes you away from that glorious idea of reflecting the divine, that is something that God wants to protect us